What's going on, peeps? It's Frankie Knuckles with another 1 and 2 on the Phantom. Gonna hit those beginners up with a little video, something to help those who have very little flight experience or just might have gotten themselves a new Phantom and don't really know what to do. Don't have a lot of experience, as I said. One tip I can pass along to you is whenever I go flying, which I am now, and I'm doing this video for you, a couple things you always got to be aware of. One is your surroundings. What are the conditions out? Obviously it's cloudy out, but there's no rain in the forecast right now, so I'm not too concerned about that. Wind, it's probably about 13 miles an hour, give or take. Not too concerned with that. I've flown in, and successfully have flown in about 20 plus miles an hour wind with no problem if you know how to do it. But when you go flying, there's some things people don't think about. See those bad boys? Those are called power lines. Power lines, cell towers, or anything that could interfere with your flight, you don't want to be by. I know a lot of you guys, oh, that doesn't interfere, that won't bother you. You know what? I don't take the risk. I don't go near them. You go near them, you run the risk of possibly losing transmission with your Phantom, all the way up to possibly the so-called flyaway. So my personal opinion is avoid any cell towers, within reason, of flying, and don't go near them. Why bother? Because all it takes is one bad moment and you can kiss your Phantom's ass goodbye. So now we're going to be flying over in this area, and as I mentioned before, just be aware of your surroundings before you go and fly. When you get to about a mile away from where you're going to fly, look around, look up in the sky, know what's around you, know if there are cell towers or heavy duty utility companies or power lines, or like I said, anything that could possibly interfere with you flying your drone. Another thing, some people like to film office buildings. I enjoy filming them as well. A little tip for you is to be careful of office buildings. Some very large companies with big office buildings actually run Wi-Fi scramblers. What does that mean? That's a security protection for the building. So nobody breaches their data. They'll run Wi-Fi scramblers outside the building, and that will fuck you and your Phantom up, because it will interfere with your transmission. So you always got to be aware of things like that. If you come up to a Fortune 500 big company, know your surroundings. You might want to call the company and try talking to them and ask them, hey, do you guys run any type of special Wi-Fi scramblers outside your building? Anything like that. Now, this building in this area that I'm in, I've already flown. I've been down it. It's a nice quiet area. I come here when I just don't feel like being bothered at the park. So I know these buildings are fine and they're good to go. So I don't have any concerns with that. But if you do go to a big company, such as maybe Coca-Cola, Pepsi, maybe Kraft Foods, any of these huge big companies could possibly be running a Wi-Fi scrambler. So keep that in the back of your mind whenever you go to fly in a place like I am. Any kinds of buildings, you want to either stay away from them or call the people up and say, hey, are you running any kind of Wi-Fi scramblers? And would you mind that I fly in your little area on a, an off day like today? Nobody's working. So that's some tips. I'm going to be right back and give you some more tips on flying. And I'm going to show you how I set my Phantom up to take off. And hopefully this will help a lot of you new guys out there. Maybe not crashing as much. Okay, stay tuned and I'll once I get set up, I'll continue on. Thanks. All right, guys, here we go. A couple more tips for you. As I mentioned before, always be aware of your surroundings. Know where the power lines are. Know where, you know, any cell towers are in the area. And, you know, just take a good survey of your area. A lot of times what I'll also do before I fly is, for example, I'll take a walk and I'll walk the path, you know, and what I'm looking for is anything that's high, anything that might cause me to crash, such as things like that down there. Those little power lines, I'm not going near them, so I'm not concerned, nor am I concerned about the other ones right here. So those aren't a concern. What is a concern is these guys. You see, it's wintertime right now, and it's cold. It's about 40 degrees, so if I sound like I'm shivering a little bit, it's cold. What you want to look for, a tip, is when you go to fly, you got to watch these guys, especially in the winter, more so than the summer, because there's no leaves, because they fall off. These little things, these little twigs, you probably can't even see them in the camera. And it's very hard when you're flying from a distance to see any twigs like this. Those little twigs, all it takes is one of them to knock you down. And at, say, 50, 70 feet in the air, you got yourself a big problem. So, be aware, walk around like I am. See, look, because you can't even see twigs right in front of you looking at this camera. It's too dark and it's too difficult sometimes. These are small little twigs. And like I said, just this little guy right here, that's all it takes. It hits your prop, possibly snap it, or possibly cause you to flip. So be aware of your surroundings. Doesn't hurt to get out, and before you fly, walk around. Look around you. See look at how big the trees are. Estimate the heights. So you know, before you go gunning it, you know approximately where you are and how high you should be at that point. So keep that in mind. Okay? Alright, fellas, here we go. The apps. Here's what I do after I survey an area, or even sometimes prior to going and flying. This little guy, the weather guy, he's your friend. Okay? He will let you know how cold it is. Obviously, it's 43 out. I'll show you how windy it is by clicking that. Right now, I'm going to be flying in about 14-mile-an-hour winds. Another app I use that helps. This guy. I'll show you here. It's called Wind Alert. It's a good app. It's free. Go get it. I don't know how well. You see the arrows? Those arrows show me the wind direction, which way it's heading, how much force. The app has a ton of features. I mean, if you look just at the menu bar, you can get all kinds of features, you know, in terms of weather. Go get this app. It's a great app. And like I said, it shows you on the bar graph here approximately how strong the wind is, all the kinds of data that you might need to know. It'll give you everything you want. Go get that app, because I use that app because that tells me what direction the wind's shining, or blowing, I should actually say, what direction the wind's blowing, so I know if I'm pushing the Phantom in that direction with the wind to my back, I got to go easy on the throttle, because I could possibly flip the Phantom going too fast. For example, you take my Phantom here, okay? In this case, let's say the wind's blowing that way, and you're flying your pretty little Phantom. If you gun it forward this way, you're going to have the wind back here pushing very hard on the Phantom. On top of it, you're going to be pushing the motors to go this way. So your Phantom's going to dip down and start flying very quick this way. With the wind to the back, it'll make it go excessively fast. Maybe too fast to cause it to tip over. or become unstable. So you want to be aware of what direction that wind is and how forceful is that wind. And then you want to know that, because if the wind's going this way, you obviously don't want to push your throttle stick all the way to the top and go this way, because you're going to cause the Phantom to dip down very serious and move at a quick rate. So you might only need to push your throttle 3/4 of the way, you know, to get to around 25 or so miles an hour. So keep that in mind. Next, coming up, I'm going to show you what's in my box, and we'll cover some of that. So stay tuned. All right, here's the moment of truth. What's in my baby here? This is my puppy. She's been very good to me. I've taken very good care of her. I'm going to give you some more tips on pre-flight stuff. Can't forget these gloves, but they're special kinds of gloves. They're called touchscreen gloves. They have little sensors inside these gloves here that allow you to control your touch devices, like your tablets, cell phones, things like that. Because when you're out in the cold, around my area, we get as cold as 0 degrees. Today it's not that bad, but it's still chilly. And when you're sitting out here for 2-3 hours flying, it gets real cold quick. So get yourself a pair of touchscreen gloves, something that, you know, I'm not a big fan of them. They don't work that well. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to crack the screen because you got to push kind of hard to get it to read. If you don't want to go that route, get a pair of cheap gloves and cut the fingertip off here of the glove. So you got your finger and you can use the one finger and you're good to go. My box, what's in my baby? There she is. Here's what I roll with, fellas. Anybody need a sock? Why a sock? For these. When it gets cold out, your battery performance dips. Doesn't work as well. So what I do is I'll go out and buy either hand warmers, foot warmers, or heat wraps or anything like that. These are great because they got little sticky paddings that you can stick around your battery. So what I'll do is I'll put a battery inside my pocket here, and if it's really cold, I'll wrap this around either the sock, or if it's real cold, around the battery itself to keep it warm. Keep in mind, I constantly check the heat of these, because some of these can get very hot. You're not looking to heat the battery up. You're just looking to try to keep it at room temperature. So you get better battery performance than you will in the cold. The cold causes the batteries to discharge at a much faster rate. Or if I don't need that, like on a day like today, it's not that bad, I might just put a sock on my battery like so. And there. And then I'll stick it inside, and that acts as a light insulator to keep the battery warm. So that way, if I'm ready to continue flying, or another option I might even do is I'll put my case in the car and I'll leave the heat on and I'll keep it warm. So that's one of my tips, is go get yourself some kind of heat wraps or anything cheap that you can wrap your battery and keep it warm in the winter. And bring yourself a sock or two that you can throw your battery into. Those help. Another tip. The Pro Views, I carry 2 of them. These are great. Must-haves. I'm going to tell you why. I do a lot of flying, both commercially and for just goofing around fun like I am now. Nothing better than having yourself a chargeable battery, USB battery. Because there are times where, like in the cold, it happened to me last week. My phone, cell phone battery just died on me in the middle of my flight. So you pull this bad boy out, you take the USB, plug it in, and you can plug it into your phone. Or if you're flying and maybe let's say your range extender's going low, you can take your USB cable and power the range extender back up while you're out and about. So get a couple of these. They're cheap, couple bucks. Amazon carries them, and they're just instant power wherever you might need them. Because like I said, in my case, when I was flying, my cell phone died on me. My Phantom was probably about 100 feet in the air and maybe 500-700 feet out. So I couldn't see. I knew my ordnance, so I was okay to guide myself back. But that's where this would come in for you guys, so you can power up your phone. Obviously I have my transmitter. Another tip I can give you is I tie a string, and on the end of the string I basically have one of those little touch pens that you can also use on the screen as well. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the gloves. This is just another idea to give you another way of controlling the camera and the videos when you need to touch, you know, your tablets or your cell phones. Neck strap, must have. Got to go get one. These are great. You strap them over your neck. It holds your transmitter for you, so you don't have to worry about dropping it. So I would say go on Amazon. They're cheap, maybe 30-40 bucks or what have you. Well worth the money. Batteries. I always carry batteries, fellas. AA's, but I don't need them anymore because I got on to the dark side with the new transmitter here. So mine's got a LiPo in it, but the old transmitters took the AA's. Always carry extras. I have 2 pairs of 4 batteries. I have them in here, in this little slot here, and I have them here as well. I have on me 5 total batteries. I have 4 in my slots in my case and 1 on the back. And I have more at home, but today it's cold and I'm just gonna go out for a little fly just to goof off. I have a USB stick that you can use to stick your memory card in, and it's basically a USB, so you don't have to hook up the Phantom and turn it on and do all that nonsense. I just pull the memory card out, I slide it into that hole and stick it in my computer, and I get my pictures and video very easily. Props, you never have enough of them. I carry about 4 or 5 of them, you know, pairs. As you can see, these are brand new. These are what I use pretty much every day as they're cut open. So you carry a bunch of them on you, it never hurts. For those oh shit moments, which we've all had, I'm sure. And then I carry my charger, you know, my USB cables that can, like I said, if I needed to, can plug it into my battery source for some more power. All you got to do is just plop it in like so, and I'm ready to power up something on my Phantom if I need it. Okay, so I hope that helps you. That's it. That's basically my case. When I go out and fly commercially, I take a second Phantom with me, because sometimes I'm 2-3 hours away from home, and the last thing you want to have happen, which has happened to me, is my Phantom didn't work. Either the camera was bad, you know, it did the shakes with the camera, or I had other issues that occurred, you know, but it's mostly the gimbal unit. Always have a secondary, so you have a backup. I have 3 Phantoms myself. If you can get yourself 2, if you're going to do it commercially, go get 2. And that's basically it. Those are some of my tips. I hope you enjoyed those. My next following up video will be how to set up your Phantom, how to calibrate it, and how to fly it. So stay tuned. Alright, fellas. Now it's time to do the calibration dance. Yes. First things first, gloves off. Okay? Gotta get your gloves off because you want to use your hands for this, especially when it comes to taking off your camera guard. I already have a battery in it, but before I ever turn any of these Phantoms on, that gimbal guard and the cap have to come off. So what I do is I tip it down. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I hold the camera like so. Let me zoom in a little, maybe that'll help you. Zoom in a little bit. I pull the guard out. But before I do that, I take my cap off, but I use my one hand to hold this camera steady so I don't jerk it around. And I slowly wiggle the camera cap off. There's your camera cap. Put that down on my case. And now I take the guard off. I hold the sides of the camera here and here, like so. And I put my fingers here, and I pull the cap guard off, the gimbal guard off. Nice and gently, without wiggling and jerking the camera around. And that's your gimbal guard. Now that you got that off, you could gently tip it up. You could choose to put your gloves on if you want, but I'm not at the moment. The next part is to do the calibration. Here's how I do mine. Again, others might have their own method. Mine, I can say this much. The systems that I'm showing you now and what I'm telling you now, I have, thank God, have never ever suffered a flyaway yet to date. Like I said, I own 3 of these bad boys, and I fly them a lot. 2 switches here, S1 and S2, put them up. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see better. I'll zoom this bad boy out. Okay, switches here and here. These 2 got to be all the way up. Push them all the way up, just like so. Here's what I do. First things first, turn this switch on. Okay? Then turn on your range extender on the side here. Lay that down, let it away a minute. And now you turn it on your Phantom. To do your Phantom, there's a little button here. Press once, press and hold. And then it lights up. Wait about 5-10 seconds. Let it kind of settle itself. And then the S1 switch, you want to toggle up and down like this 7 times or so until it turns like a solid yellow like this. Now you're ready to start the calibration. To calibrate, what I do is I tip 1, I don't put my props on. Don't put your props on. It just makes it harder to calibrate. Leave your props off because you can grab the edges of the Phantom very easily without bending or damaging the props while they're on. Pick it up a little bit and spin it around like so, steadily, as smooth as you can, like I'm doing in this video, till it turns green, which will be right about now. Then flip it up like this and spin it this way. Again, nice and steady. Keep it nice and smooth so it gets a good calibration. And when it's done, it'll turn yellow. Turn it down back on its landing gear and turn it off. Press once, press and hold. And now it's off. Turn off your transmitter, your range extender first, and then turn off the transmitter. Now you're ready to fly. So now you can put your transmitter off to the side, and now it's time to screw on your props. Your props go like so. You have a silver and you have a black. Okay? Here's your silver and here's your black. Okay? The markings on your Phantom are real simple. See that little black dot? That's for black. So you put your black prop on here. This silver one is obviously for your silver prop. The way they go on is different. The black one goes on counterclockwise, I believe, but yes, counterclockwise. What you're going to do is put it down. Here, I'll zoom in so you can see a little bit. Okay, we'll do the silver one right here. Take the silver one over here, okay? Or actually, I'm sorry, that's black because it's got the black dot. Take your black prop, put it down on this, like so, and just spin it like that. Then what I do is I hold the motor like so. I grab the motor like this. Okay? You grab the motor like so and spin this a little bit this way just to tighten it on. Same thing. I'll zoom out so you can see me do the rest of them. Okay, so now I'm going to do silver. Silver is clockwise, so you spin it like so. And then hold the motor and tighten it. Don't over tighten it, just snug it up. So you don't have to worry about the motor taking off on you while you're flying. Same thing again, silver, clockwise, spin it like so. Tighten that up. Take your last prop, which is your black, and then put that down on the last motor. Counterclockwise, spin it, hold the motor, and give it a snug. And she's ready. All right, so stay tuned. It's about time to launch, and I'm going to show you how we do it. All right, fellas, she's ready to go. First things first is you want to, again, let me see, I got to turn this so I can see what you're seeing in my camera. Neck strap, put that on. You got your transmitter, everything's off. Hook your phone up like so. Just hold these two clips, pop it in like so. Make sure it's nice and secure and in the middle of the phone so it won't fall out. Here's what you're going to want to do to get ready to fly that bad boy. First things first, transmitter goes on. Second, turn on your range extender. Just switch right here. Third, turn on the Phantom. Again, press once, press and hold. Pop. She's ready. Now, give it a second to kind of get settled. I'm going to try to show you how I do it. So I'm going to take my neck strap off. I'm going to see if I can get my camera. Okay, first things first. Now that the Phantom's on, I got my transmitter extender on. Press the settings button. Okay, that little button first. You want to go into your iPhone Wi-Fi settings. In the Android, you're going to probably do something similar. You're going to look for this Phantom. See the Phantom? I don't know. Hold on. Let me turn this up. See that? Phantom 6183, whatever. It's connecting already. Okay? Now you see the little blue check mark. So I'm connected to the Phantom. Press your center button. Now, I run the FPV booster, but I'm not going to do it now. Maybe I'll do a video on that later. Now that I'm set up there, now I'm going to press the DJI app. Okay, now once the DJI app opens up, you're going to want to push camera, this bad boy. This is going to load up your Phantom camera. Okay? Now, if you look and notice, right now I have 8 satellites locked on. I'm ready to fly right there. I have 99% battery life, 70% range extender life, and I got plenty of room for pictures, and I got good satellite and everything else. Camera, I use my wheel here, and just so you know, you can see, don't forget to subscribe if you want one of these bad boys right here, because that's up for a raffle December 12th. So make sure you subscribe and like my videos and get yourself a shot at winning one of these transmitters free. Okay, so now we're ready to fly. You can see the Phantom's green, right? Well, you see the Phantom's green. She's ready to go. I got plenty of satellites to fly. Usually I recommend always have a lock. See that? Hold on, let me bring this in a little close. See that 8 there? That 8 is important. You want to have at least 6, and it should be a blue color like that. That lets you know you have a lock on your Phantom and with the satellites, and you're good to go. If you don't have a lock, in this area I have a good satellite signal, so I'm fine. If you don't, be patient. This is the most critical part of flying. If you're impatient, you're going to not have a satellite lock, and you're gonna have a world of shit coming your way. You better be ready for it, because your Phantom's not gonna be flying very smooth. So I got my lock, so now it's time to fly. So now, you see the Phantom's green. I'm gonna turn this over. Here's what you're gonna wanna do. Both buttons go down and in. That fires up the motor. Pop this out, because this has the locking mechanism. Pop it out, and I'm ready to fly. Now, I just checked the wind. It's about 15 miles an hour, so it's windy out. I might do a video on the wind and how to fly with it, but that's for later. For you guys, the new guys, real simple. How do you want to get this off the ground? Don't just push it a little bit. Don't be afraid to gun it. Push this bad boy up like that, and that's it. Now I'm gonna lift it up. All right, let me put this, I'm gonna move this out, the Phantom out, into the video. There. Okay? She's going up, she's doing fine. She has 8, I have 8 satellites. And like I said, it's windy out, so the wind is pushing my Phantom. As you can see, hold on, let me bring it down a little. It's pushing it out, but it's ready to go. All you got to do now, what I always suggest is, for the new guys, go out to the center of a park, okay, like so, and go up. In this case, I won't. Go up to about 120 feet, or whatever is a comfortable height in your area that won't get you into trouble with trees. You want to be up now. You want to be up over trees and buildings. So maybe 125 feet, maybe 150 feet will be ample height. If it's not, go higher. Obviously staying under 400 feet. The reason why I want you to go higher is because when you're higher than everything, you won't hit anything. Okay? And then you can fly your Phantom around like I am right now. Okay? Now, with the Phantom up, let's look at the controls. This is your height. Okay? That goes up. This is down. Brings your Phantom down. This spins your Phantom to the left and back to the right. Okay? Hold on. It's a little windy, so I just gotta watch the Phantom. Gust of wind. Now, your right toggle is your left. Okay? I'm trying to show you the Phantom in the camera here. Let me get you on the camera. Bear with me. Okay, there she is. Okay, you see it in there? This is your right. That moves the Phantom to the right when you pull it. Notice how I'm not pulling very hard. Little gentle pulls, that's all it takes. Same to the left, little bit to the left. Move slow, it's all about gentle movements. You don't need to like wail on the sticks when you're going left and right. So that's your left, this is your right. Your forward is up, makes your Phantom fly away from you. And back is pull it back and it'll come towards you. Now, I'm gonna pull it closer to the camera and explain the lights. Okay. So now you got a green light and you got a red. See? The red is the front. The green is your back. Don't ask me why DJI did this, but they did. And you always have to remember your ordinances when you're flying. When it's red, it's facing front of you. It's in front of you. You see the camera. So if I push the stick, for example, let me send this out a little bit. If I push this stick, hold on, I gotta try to get in the camera so you guys can see it. Okay, you see my Phantom there? The red is facing me. That means the camera's towards me. That's the front of the Phantom. If I push the stick forward, it will come forward towards me. It won't go away from me because it's reversed. Now, if I push it to the left, let me send it back out into the camera. If I move my stick to the left, it'll go right. If I move my stick to the right, it'll go left. That's again because the ordnance has changed. The Phantom is facing me. So you want to reverse your controls when you're steering it. That part of flying is the hardest flying. The easy part is to spin the Phantom like so. And now, green always keep to the back, you know, of the thing, or have green be in your line of sight always, because then it's normal flying. Forward is forward, reverse is reverse, left and right and steering. So there you have it. I know I covered a lot and I tried to do my best. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I'd be more than happy to answer them. And again, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you thought of this video and get yourself entered.